Let us begin. I'm Captain Wiley. All right, I'm your company commander. This is Fire Support Officer Captain Olson, and we have XO Captain Goodwill here. He'll also be filling in for the first sergeant, who is he's out dealing with troubled soldiers right now. So, this is your company op order brief for Operation New York. Next slide. Company task order. We have all three of our organic platoons. We also have an attached platoon, 4th Platoon Delta Company from the Weapons Company. Third platoon is the decisive operation. You'll have all your organic key weapon systems. You'll also have a sapper squad attached. That'll be 2nd Squad, 1st Platoon Op Company, 7th Engineers. Task destroy, purpose prevent. Shape and operation number 1 is 1st Platoon. You'll have all your organic key weapon systems. You also have a sapper squad attached. And that'll be 1st Squad, 1st Platoon Op Company, 7th Engineers. Your task is to seize, purpose prevent. Shape and operation 2 is 4th Platoon Delta. They'll have 6 Humvees with them. So 2 of those will have Mark 19s, 2 of those will have 50 cals, and 2 will have 240s. Task to screen, purpose to allow. And then shape and operation 3 is 2nd Platoon. They have all organic key weapon systems. They'll be the company reserve, and they'll have the planning priorities of defend the company assembly area, reinforce the decisive op, and then reinforce the shape and op 1. Next slide. Area of operations. All right, so we'll be operating in the greater AO Egypt as usual. The specific sub-AOs that we'll be operating in, though, are AO Billings, AO Eugene, and then AO Toledo. So to box you into that AO, to the north we have the 81 Northern, which coincides with Objective Syracuse. To the east we have the 79 Easting, which coincides with the Fire Base Buckner. To the south we have 75 Northern, which aligns with MSR Elise. And then to the west we have the 77th Easting, which aligns with Objective Buffalo. To familiarize you with our AO, to the north in the vicinity of Objective Syracuse, we have Burke Mountain and Mount Rascal. So those are the major terrain features up there. In the vicinity of Fire Base Buckner, we have Lake Popolopen, and west of that we have Bull Hill, which is where the company assembly area is going to be. And then down near Objective Buffalo, we have Black Cat Mountain and Florence Mountain. All right, for area of interest. So close air support, the Arians have no close air support, so it'll be a non-issue for this operation. For indirect fires and artillery, down south here in AO Austria, they have 82mm mortars as well as 152mm artillery. The trigger for the use of that will likely be if they identify any of our massing of forces within the AO, and the response time on that is approximately 10 minutes. For reinforcements, in addition to this mechanized platoon here, which we'll talk about later, we also have an element of a company minus armor element. All right. Their response time is approximately 60 minutes. The trigger for them to be dedicated to our O, we believe, will be an attack on Objective Syracuse, or if this mechanized platoon here, if they take a loss of 2 tanks or more, then likely they'll call for that armor element. And then lastly, civilians. As you guys know, within AO Egypt, not a large civilian presence. They've mostly evacuated. However, down here on MSR Elise, there likely will be some civilian traffic, and then down in AO Austria, outside of AO, there's certainly still a civilian presence down there. All right, next. All right, episode brief, let's train analysis.
So obstacles within our area. The enemy has the capability to place wire obstacles. We anticipate them doing so between our key terrain and the swamps and the significant slopes in between them. We'll see that in Objective Syracuse. We'll also see that down in Objective Buffalo. For absolute approach, we have Route 6 running east to west, and 293 running north to south, as well as a significant network of ASRs running north to south and east to west throughout the area. This provides enemy mounted capabilities the opportunity for high-speed reinforcement of their own elements, and therefore an advantage. Off of the roads, you see dense vegetation and avenues of approach that are typically squad to platoon size, so that gives us an advantage as we intend to operate at that echelon through that area. When you're looking at key terrain, as already discussed, you have Burke Mountain, Rascal Mountain, Bull Hill, Black Cat Mountain, and Florence Mountain. For observation in fields of fire, due to the dense vegetation, anticipate being able to see and identify targets between 1 and 200 meters. And for cover and concealment, the enemy has established fighting positions and have designed battle positions on our objective areas. Slide. We expect to operate in temperatures between 29 and 69 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's probably not going to inhibit our operations too much, but make sure your soldiers are wearing the right gear at night so you don't have some kind of cold weather casualty. Take note that nighttime illumination on day 2 and day 3 is going to be upwards of 96 to 99%. So even though the enemy doesn't have as many night division capabilities as we do, they'll still be able to see at night, so this gives them an advantage. Slide.
All right, Charlie 5, next so, Captain John Goodwill. It's the enemy situation. In general, you've done a great job. As a result of the recent spoiling attacks, the special purpose attacks, we executed successfully the raids and ambushes, as well as the very successful defense on LZ Owl in the north side of Firebase Buckner. We've attrited our enemy, the 3122 Oriani Motorized Infantry Battalion, attrited them to the south and pushed them south of our AO. However, that enemy is currently consolidating and reorganizing their force, and we expect they'll conduct a massive counterattack here shortly. Our enemy, the battalion supporting Operation 1, is a company minus element. They have recently seized some critical weapons to include armor and anti-aircraft capabilities from their Atropian counterparts in our AO. They've worked also to seize key terrain in order to start an interdiction inside of our area of operations, focusing on Firebase Buckner, as well as establishing an enemy mission command node inside of our AO Egypt. Toward into our enemy dock town. So here is supporting shaping Operation 1, our enemy company that's coming back inside of AO Egypt that we'll be fighting against. They're broken down into 3 elements here. Their decisive operation, their DO, a motorized and armored platoon that is equipped with 3 T-72 tanks, as well as 2 armored personnel carriers and a logistics package. Their task is to disrupt in order to deny Blue Forces freedom of maneuver inside of the AO. Second element, the enemy shaping Operation 1 of the company section is two squads, 14 packs total, and their key weapon system is that two SA-7s, that anti-aircraft capability. Their task is to destroy Blue Forces in order to allow the Red Forces freedom of maneuver for their DO. Shaping Operation 2, also a section we assess to be 12 personnel total, broken down into 2 Orianian squads. Key weapon systems they have, 82 millimeter indirect fire mortar asset, as well as a retrans capability so they can communicate all the way from south of our AO, north all the way to their SA-7s that are interdicting our air near Firebase Buckner and AO Belgium. Their task is to retain in order to allow freedom of maneuver for their company DO. All right, for our sit-down, generally the way this enemy will fight. DO is templated here. We expect them to go from south to north in order to disrupt our operations inside of AO Egypt. Shaping Operation 1, it's equipped with that key weapon system, those SA-7s that can interdict blue air operations, templated here. And then the Shaping Operation 2, the other Ariana infantry section, which is down here on Objective Buffalo. Their task is to retain and provide that retrans capability and allow for extended communications and mission command for Red inside of the AO. Followed by the commander to talk most likely most dangerous.
All right, guys, so I want to talk to you about how I anticipate this enemy fighting. Real quick, though, a little background on this element up here with the anti-aircraft capability. So if you remember last week when we defended Firebase Buckner out on HUSDL, right? You guys were like blasting BTRs with tow missiles and stuff. You guys remember that? Yeah, we blasted a couple tow missiles. Yeah, all right, good. You guys are heroes. While we were doing that, we received some reports that these guys were up further in AO Jupiter. They shot down a British helicopter, right? So they've capitalized on that. While we were all Firebase Buckner defending, they kind of infiltrated back into the AO, and they put these guys up near Objective Syracuse, and then they have a mission command cell down here on Florence Mountain now, right? So this element here, these guys have effectively shut down our air avenues of approach, right? So air is shut down right now, which is a huge advantage for the rest of this enemy, all right? Because they can more or less, if they do come in, they can operate without any threat of air interdiction, all right? So huge asset for the enemy up here. However, you'll notice they're very isolated up north, okay? So that's why they put this mission command cell here on Florence Mountain. They're the lifeline between these anti-air assets up here and then reinforcements down south. Okay, if a fight were to break out, these guys come under attack, first thing the enemy's going to do is they're going to try to call down to this mechanized platoon and dedicate them to come up and help out in the AO, all right? As far as the specific battles, up here to the north against this the anti-aircraft capabilities, that's the 3rd platoon's fight. I anticipate that fight, if this enemy comes under attack, what they're going to do, they're going to put up an initial resistance, all right, defend themselves, but ultimately I think they're going to try to retrograde back north and get out of the AO, all right? And I think they're going to do that because they simply can't afford to lose that anti-aircraft capability, all right? So they're going to protect it. They don't want it being destroyed or seized, so they're going to get out of there. I think it's a different story down here in Florence Mountain, though, all right? I think this enemy, who is 1st Platoon's enemy, I think they're going to fight to the death. All right, and I say that because they can't afford to lose mission command. If they do lose mission command, these guys are stranded with their critical weapon systems, and it totally eliminates their ability to use indirect fires or call in reinforcements. All right. So, first platoon, I think you can anticipate these guys having very well prepared fighting positions, battle positions, probably a good use of obstacles, probably a good counter recon fight going on. So expect to have to kill these guys in their foxholes. And then this mechanized platoon down here, when they are called, when or if they are called, all right, I think they're going to come in fast and furious along the fire breaks, and they will be dedicated to getting to either one of the objectives, whichever one they're called to, all right? So they're bringing a lot of firepower with them, 2 tanks, a couple BTRs. This is 4th Platoon Weapons Company's fight, so they're well equipped to handle it. But I think it's going to be a pretty heavy fight right there. All right, so that's how I anticipate the enemy reacting to this attack.
All right, friendly forces. 2 levels up, our brigade mission and intent, or brigade commander's mission and intent are no change from the previous orders that we've had the past few weeks from the company. Broken down by battalion, the DO, our battalion 128, tasked is to retain AO Egypt, purpose is to enable the government of Ethiopia. 187 infantry, shaping Operation 1 Brigade, templated here in AO Belgium. Their task is to retain AO Belgium to allow the freedom of maneuver for the brigade DO. 132 infantry, templated here. Their task is to destroy enemy in AO Austria, and their purpose is to deny enemy freedom of maneuver for the brigade DO. For the battalion, also no change for battalion mission, as well as battalion commander's intent. Alpha Company 128 DO, their task is to retain Firebase Buckner in order to enable the government of Ethiopia. Shaping Operation 1, our company, Charlie Company 128, task is to destroy enemy anti-aircraft capabilities, and our purpose is to prevent enemy freedom of maneuver on the DO. And then Bravo Company, templated down here, shaping Operation 2, their task is to disrupt the enemy in AO Fresno, and their purpose is to protect the eastern flank of the battalion DO. Followed by the commander.
All right, so our mission. Charlie Company 128 Infantry, the battalion shaped in Operation 1. We will attack to destroy enemy anti-aircraft capabilities in the vicinity of Objective Syracuse, Whiskey Lima 788-808, no later than 010430 December 17, in order to prevent enemy freedom of maneuver on the battalion DO. I'll say again, Charlie 128 attacks to destroy the enemy anti-aircraft capabilities in the vicinity of Objective Syracuse, Whiskey Lima 788-808, no later than 010430 December 17, in order to prevent the enemy freedom of maneuver on the battalion DO. So the expanded purpose. The purpose of this operation is to deny that anti-aircraft capability within the AO, all right, and to prevent them from interfering with the battalion DO's efforts to establish Firebase Buckner. The key task for this operation. Key task 1, we must destroy those anti-aircraft capabilities up at Objective Syracuse. Key task 2, we must seize the retrans capability down on Objective Buffalo, and then after both those operations are complete, we must be prepared for a counterattack from the Arianas. The end state of this operation in regards to enemy. The enemy anti-aircraft capabilities are destroyed on Objective Syracuse, and the retrans position is seized on Objective Buffalo. In regards to terrain, 1st and 3rd Platoon are in a hasty defense. 2nd Platoon has the assembly area secured, and 4th Platoon maintains their screen down on MSR lease. In regards to friendly, the company is set in battle positions to the west and south of Firebase Buckner. And then in regards to civilians, the trophy civilians are warned to leave the area due to a likely Ariana counteroffensive. Next. All right, execution paragraph, concept of the ops.